Welcome in to Three the Hardaway, aka the three-man gel and weave, aka the best big three since LeBron, D Wade, and Bosh. Top 10 power forwards today, gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, well, first of all, let's start here. If you're watching this video, stop right here, go down there and press the like button. If you are not subscribed, subscribe on YouTube. And if you are on a podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you're looking at a podcast, leave us a 5-star review. We would greatly appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at 3 the Hardaway Pod. And let's get into it. If you don't know who I am the walking bucket, instant offense, savage. Up here, we got my guy, the coach on the sidelines, taking them to school on and off the court. And when I say it's really Sheedy, it's really Sheedy. Sheedy, what up, though?
Hey, what's happening? Hey, question, though, for you. And this means nothing with the show, but, like, who thought about making people pay for insurance? Anyways, next slide.
That's the government for you.
The government.
That's
everything.
That's the government for you, dog. Up here we got my guy, your favorite DJ's favorite DJ, the sample man himself, Tev Shakir 2. What up?
What it do? Insurance is a scam, by the way.
Insurance definitely is a scam, but in America, we got to pay it. We got to pay it until the foreseeable future. So like I said, y'all, top 10 power forwards today. But before we get into that, first, I want to give a shout out to the Las Vegas Aces, my Las Vegas Aces. They are the WNBA 2022 champions. They beat the Connecticut Sun in 4 games. Asia Wilson went off. Chelsea Grady, MVP of the finals, she went off. Just an overall a good WNBA playoffs, man. And they said their views were up throughout the entire season, and I imagine that the playoffs had some high viewership as well too. Just overall good basketball. Let's keep the WNBA growing. I don't know if y'all had any comments about the series, but if y'all want to, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll just jump in really quickly. It's crazy how the Greg Popovich tree continues to spread itself. It's not just for the NBA, it's for the WNBA as well. So shout out to Becky Hammond. I think she was coach of the year, first year coach, taking the Aces all the way and winning a championship is something to be said. Yes, she's a rookie head coach, but I feel like you spend a year with Popovich is like you spending 3 to 4 years underneath somebody else. So kudos to her, and kudos to the NBA for allowing that. I don't want to say allowing that to happen, but seeing the greatness of what Popovich and other coaches can do for giving that leverage to Becky Hammond and others to get into the field that they would like to go into. So kudos to everyone on that one, but big shout out to Becky for that win.
Definitely. I think, like, even though this is Becky's first year coaching, like, she's been around the game, like, even off the court, damn near 10 years at this point. On the court, she was that chick when she was on the court. So her success as a coach isn't really a surprise, but just a huge congratulations, huge shout out to them. They, our fellow podcasting brothers dubbed them as the Warriors of the WNBA. So I mean, that's neither here or there. They gotta get that 2-peat going first. So, but just a huge shout out to the city of Vegas as well, because if you think about professional sports in Vegas, that's a spot that a lot of people didn't think would have success. When really Vegas is one of the more starving cities in America. And not only did we have the announcement for the Vegas president to be announced as a woman, now we got the WNBA coming in and winning the championship, their first championship for professional sports of Vegas. I think it's a good look for the city of Vegas as well, especially with them, trying to bring forth an NBA team as well. I think it's a great look for Vegas. So shout out to them.
Yeah, definitely. An NBA team is on the way. And I know LeBron, he wants to put his hand in that, and I can definitely see. I mean, Vegas is the epicenter of gambling, and sports betting is as big as it possibly has been. So it only makes sense for at some point gonna have a team in
what's the ruling on, because I think it's a rule on players being able to own and play at the same time. Is there a rule on that?
I don't know. It's a good question. I
feel like it wasn't at first, but I'll look it up. I should definitely look it up, but I feel like they just made that a rule. I'm just curious.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think that'd be an interesting conflict of interest. I don't know. But speaking of owners, we can get right into the Phoenix Suns owner, Robert Sarver, who he got a lot going on. So it's I sent y'all like an article that was like very long, but it was very detailed of just each of the things that has happened since he picked up the team. I think in like early 2000s. There's a lot going on with him, but I'll try to compile it to make it shorter. This came from the ESPN article, and it just basically states like what's going on. Suns majority owner Robert Sarver is facing increasing pressure to lead the NBA franchise following a league investigation that found many instances of inappropriate workplace behavior, including the use of racial slurs and demeaning and harsh treatment of employees, excuse me, including women and minority workers. After publishing the findings on Tuesday, the NBA suspended Sarver from all activity related to the franchise for 1 year and fined him $10 million, the maximum allowable by the league's bylaws. Penalty, some are saying don't go far enough. So it appears that Sarver's not going to lose his team because they only suspended him for 1 year. And I don't know if those who are listening, y'all know about the NBA owners' pockets. 10 million ain't shit. that's like $20 for us. You know what I'm saying? So the floor is open, gentlemen. What y'all thoughts on just this suspension, the owner, and just what's going to happen going forth with not only Sarver but other NBA owners?
You go ahead.
There's one line in the article that's enough to kind of make you sick, so to speak. And I'm gonna talk about that and then some more. But the one line in this article is that another Suns executive said it would not surprise me if Robert Sarver was using this type of language and or using offensive language and just using racial slurs. That right there, I can not even argue. I can say right now, without a shadow of a doubt, from the three gentlemen that are sitting on this podcast, if you go into my workplace or ask other employees that work around me, and I do not work with an all African American cast, if I were to be asked about if I said anything racially offensive or something against women, they will tell you I have never said anything to that point, or would they believe that I have said something to that extent. The fact that that is even something to be discussed, or even that you are bringing it up as an owner or just as a person in general, is absolutely disgusting. And the one thing I do want to say about this is this shows that America cares not about white, not about black, not about a mixed color. The main color in America is green. Just talking with insurance, it got shit to do with nothing about right now, but America wants to collect the almighty dollar. Also leads to punishments. The more money you have, the less the punishment is. As severe as a case as this is and what it has done, and then, even though I feel like it's trying to be covered up because, again, money, I cannot say that 1 year is going to suffice. Because I'll say personally, first of all, if anyone calls me an N-word, you might not see a year, per se. That's for my wife, my family, or my kids. On top of that, if you said something disrespectful to my wife, again, or my daughter, you might not see the next year. So it hits a little bit differently, but again, I think green, the almighty dollar, so to speak, plays a huge factor in the consequence that people are suffering too. Before I pass to you, you were one of those guys that talked about the Deshaun Watson case and how the pressure's on Deshaun Watson, but there's no consequences for the Texans. We have yet to see anything happen to the Texans. And again, this is an NBA podcast, right? But again, the overall extent that I'm trying to say is, again, green, the almighty dollar. Pass them down to the big fella.
A great point. And you brought up your daughter, shout out to her. Happy belated birthday to her as well. We talked about this a little bit on Let's Be Real. And step one is, a lot of people don't feel like the punishment was enough, which I agree with 100%. But also the NBA, but there are certain protocols in which things were to happen and things are in play. So they did fine him the max amount. I don't think they, suspended him the max amount yet. But I think what we're going to see and what we're seeing is essentially Robert Sarver being forced to sell the team. Of course, this isn't a thing that can happen immediately. We saw this with Donald Sterling. Of course, it took time. I say within the next year or so, we should have new owners for the Suns. But when you talk about Robert Sarver, you talk about an owner who partners even consider him a racist scumbag, essentially. You know what I'm saying? And I'm, I'm saying my words, but you can find quotes of them saying probably even worse words. You got, you got credit. You got an owner who's credited for saying nigga a lot in numerous games on numerous occasions within the locker rooms, outside the locker room. You got him on, sending out pictures of his wife in bikinis and stuff like that, showing it to your coworkers, like, call disrespecting women, of course. Like, you got people out here who I've talked to who's like, he's one of the cheapest owners as well. You got a team that was in the championship 2-3 years ago, and you go into the arena and it's one of the most boring arenas you can possibly ever go to. Granted, I've never gone to a game, but this is what people are saying that have been here 20 years, and seen the Sarver era. Pretty much they want him gone. The people he worked with want him gone. Essentially, you can read it up. The NBA owners want him gone. So I think this will be a process of getting Robert Sarver out of here, because we don't have any kind of they don't need to deal with this kind of BS anymore. And you dealing with Sarver, who's looking in the mirror, is like, what did I do wrong? I think that's the key issue. He feel like he hasn't done a damn thing wrong. If you look up his states, oh, I didn't do that. Oh, I said, oh, he did this, but I gotta do. It is BS. You know what I'm saying?
As I was reading that article, it was like 4 or 5 times that literally happened with Earl Watson, with some.
I didn't do that. I didn't call him a nigga.
I was like, dude, that's a recurring pattern right here. Did you not see that? It was just crazy. I was reading it.
It's reoccurring, and it's something, like I said, pretty much everybody is fed up with. So, like I said, you got a team who went to the championship. It's time for new ownership. And it's funny, we brought up, let's be real too, it's like everywhere Chris Paul goes to, there seems to be some kind of attachment to the owner of screwing up. And I think, like I said, it's time to get those people out of here.
Yeah, man. Like, Sarver is just, he has white man syndrome, where it's just like, you can't do any wrong. You're always right. Got to be in power. Got to have, misogynistic tendencies towards women. It's just all bad. And one thing that for me has stood out, as far as like, how does the NBA like govern this? So in the workplace, you get like Title IX, and basically what that means is that everyone is treated fairly and with respect. That's the bare minimum of what Title IX means. And I'm like, does Title IX even apply to the owners? How does it apply to the owners of the team? Because they're not technically employees. And so in that case, you literally are an owner and you can do whatever the hell you want to do. And so I'm just confused as to how the NBA can do that. I don't know the legal process as far as like the owners when they meet and discuss these things, but there has to be some kind of bylaws in place for owners under the NBA like governing body, because otherwise they can continue to do this, and there's no telling what other owners have racist tendencies, sexist tendencies, whatever. The owners have to figure out a way to police themselves and at least say, hey, if we make multiple situations of racist, vernacular or sexist vernacular, where you got women who literally quit. There were droves of women who quit the Phoenix Suns because the Sarver made them uncomfortable. Like, we got to get him out of there. Like, he has to get out of there. And so the 1-year suspension, I agree too. I feel like it's going to be something that's going to be even harsher down the road as far as him selling the team, which still gives him money. So he's not really being punished. He's getting more money because you're going to sell the team for $5 billion probably. You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand it. I mean, PayPal pulling out, that's momentum towards the selling of the team, because nobody's going to want to put their money towards the Suns. It's not going to happen. Like, unless you are a dirty business, you're not putting your money towards the Phoenix Suns right now. If I am a black player, and I'll leave it at this, if I am a black player or a woman in that organization, I am not working. You got to trade me. Like, I'm sorry. You got to trade me. I'm not working under Robert Sarver, because if I'm Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, who just got paid, I'm like, nope. Unless he sells the team, I'm not playing. Y'all can trade me or do whatever. You can find me. But that's where I draw the line. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it. And I'm not saying that other owners are not racist. I would hope that they're not. But you have several examples of you being racist and sexist, misogynistic, all of that stuff. I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I'm done. So yeah, we clean our hands up for that. So yeah, we're gonna continue to follow this story as the season progresses. He may just disappear for this 1 year, but something gonna have to give one way or another in Phoenix. So too, I'm sure you're gonna see most of that down there in Phoenix. Thank God in Memphis we got a good owner. Thank God we got a halfway decent owner who stay out of folks' business, let the coaches coach, let the players play, and just do his thing, just spend money. That's all you got to do. All right. So with that being said, let's get into the top 10 power forwards. As I was going through my list, I was like, there is a huge separation from the top to the bottom. Like your top 3, 4-ish, I would say maybe. Huge separation. You got like all stars and then like role players. Like literally, it's a big separation. So I'm curious to see what y'all get. So who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
All right, go ahead. Do your honorable mention first.
Of course, honorable mention.
And we'll go around from honorable mention.
Okay. So I got, honestly, it's kind of crazy. I got 3 of them. One of them, Aaron Gordon, somebody averaging 15 points a game right now, but has been honestly disappointing to me. When he got picked up by the Nuggets, I thought the Nuggets would be better. I thought he could be better defensively next to Jokic, which we haven't seen that. So hopefully if he can, get better defensively and do things outside of scoring to make the team better, they could see the playoffs. But again, I don't have the Nuggets going to the playoffs. So wanted to mention him. Wanted to mention Brandon Clark. We talk about power forwards as far as efficiency rating go, PER, he's second among power forwards. So even though he's not in the top 10, he's a Grizz, and you definitely got to give him a shout out. And last but not least, kind of just switched it kind of right before the show, which is funny. John Collins, his numbers kind of lowered just a little bit. But of course, Mr. Consistency, never shot below 52% from field out of his whole career. Just would like to acknowledge him for sure.
Real quick, too, gun to your head. Do the Grizzlies trade Brandon Clark?
You said should?
I said, do they? Just
no.
ask him.
No.
Okay.
Because if Steven Adams, if you aren't able to use him in the playoffs like last year, Brandon Clark could be starting for us, essentially. So, yeah.
We agree. In regards to Aaron Gordon, let me turn this up just to make sure I'm heard nice and loud. Aaron Gordon I too, to your point too, was disappointed in what happened once he got traded. I felt like, and this goes into my rating as well, I felt like there's a higher ceiling that he can achieve with Joker. And Joker's not a player that's always going to play back to the rim type of basketball and back you down. And so I felt there were more opportunities for Aaron Gordon, and I don't think he quite sees them. But I also think this is a team that was looking to redefine themselves again with all the injuries they've had. But I look forward to Aaron Gordon doing better this upcoming season. Savage, you opened up and told us like it's about 2, it's like 3, maybe 4 tops, and then the rest is about mid to CBD. We're in the CBD category right now, ladies and gentlemen, with this, and I'll leave Aaron Gordon right there. But I will discuss power forwards when it's time for me to talk about my top 10, because there's something special that I do want to talk about. But my other power forward that I think will have an honorable mention is not a player that's going to light up your stat sheet, but is definitely an integral part in a championship type of run, and that's PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker defended James Harden 85% of the playoffs, and PJ Tucker has been known to be a great defensive stopper. Look what the Bucks did with getting PJ Tucker, and look why the Heat got PJ Tucker. Look why the 76ers got PJ Tucker. Now to keep James Harden away from having to go against PJ Tucker in the playoffs, right? So it's been kind of, PJ Tucker has always been that type of guy. And again, he's not going to light you up. He's not going to give you 12 to 40 points. He's going to grab that rebound when it needs. He's going to be the assist. But when it comes to defense, his ability to lock up between 2 to 4 is pretty amazing. And again, we're just a few seasons removed that the Rockets had him at center, which I still can't believe happened. But also something I'll be going into once I talk about my top 10 list.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you think the Heat are going to miss him?
Miss PJ Tucker? I think that we're going to miss him heavily. So I'll give you about a 7 right now. And it's not just what he did on the floor, because again, his last few games he was hurt. His off the court ability to blend with Jimmy and the rest of the players, I watched that for a whole year. It was great. PJ Tucker is a guy that you can plug into any system and it's going to work, but he's going to lock down, and we are missing that part this upcoming season so far.
Man, Miami said we got Udonis Haslem. We don't need PJ Tucker. That's what happened.
It's only room for one of us. There's only room for one of us, buddy.
Hey, bro, and I saw the team photo. The team photo has the audacity of Udonis has him front and center.
Front and center, baby. What you mean?
This is team.
If they don't slap a fucking polo on him, man, I got one coming. I'm
talking about Wade County.
Right.
Nah, Udonis County.
This Haslam City.
Oh my God.
And I'm sick of it.
Okay. I only got one honorable mention. Actually, Aaron Gordon is nowhere near my top 10. I don't know. No. Respect to him, but no. My honorable mention, I actually got Marvin Bagley. He's out of a toxic environment in Sacramento. He's with Detroit. He's happier. Young team. Not that they'll be great this year, but I feel like he has an opportunity to actually play. His points per game, went up, obviously. Excuse me. Ooh, recovering from sickness, y'all. Points per game went up when he got traded from Sacramento to Detroit. I want to see some high-low action with him and Duran. I want to see how that operates. Bagley can put the ball in the hole. It's just a matter of he needs opportunity to do that. And I think he will have that chance in Detroit. So give me Marvin Bagley to have a sneaky honorable mention type of year at the power forward position. So let's get into the bottom half of the top 10 too.
All right, so I actually wanted to put him in my top 10. So shout out to you for mentioning Marvin Bagley, great player, underrated player as well. So number 10, this player got top 5 easy power forward potential, but because he don't play, and we still kind of don't know what he is, and Savage love to say that his numbers don't transition to wins. They got a better team this year, so we're gonna start my number 10 off for actual Zion Williamson. I couldn't put him in the top 5 because, like I said, I don't know how many games he's gonna play. But overall, the Pelicans will be a better team, as I've said on this podcast. So I got to at least acknowledge, 20, 26, 27, and 7 rebounds. That's amazing. And they should have a better team. So that could transition actually into an MVP season for Zion. I don't want to say that right now, but if Zion can play 60, 70 games, watch out for him because you know how much the media love him. Number 9, I got Tobias Harris, 17, 7 boards a game. His numbers dropped as well, but consistency is key. And what I expect to see from Tobias Harris, which is funny because I'm watching the Lakers documentary on Hulu. If y'all not watching it, make sure y'all watch that. If Tobias Harris can be like a Robert Horry for this team can go really, really far. If he can be that third, maybe fourth option just to continuously hit the open shot, they'll go far. But he's just like Harden. In the playoffs, his numbers go, he's nowhere to be found. But we're talking regular season, he's top 10 for sure regular season. But playoffs, he can be the reason they make it to the next round or not, essentially. Number 8, of course, one of Savage's favorite players, the lefty connection, Julius Randle. He was 5th among power forwards in scoring with 20 points a game, 10 rebounds a game. The Knicks won't make the playoffs, so of course I can't have them in the top 5 for sure. But of course we still got to acknowledge 20 and 10, yeah, there's Julius Randle for you. Hopefully he can keep going right. And to round off my bottom 5, we got Triple J. We got Jaren Jackson Jr. Couldn't put him in the top 5 because, of course, health reasons. But when he's on a court, he is that difference maker. Some people call him the Steph Curry of centers. The fact that he shoots so many threes, which is true, he shoots 5 threes a game and shoot around 32%. So if he can get those shooting totals up, come back healthy, rebound better, Jaren Jackson Jr. can easily be a top 5 power forward in this center in the NBA. But because he don't rebound, he only get 5 boards or 6 boards a game, he can get better. But as soon as he come back healthy, and if he can go, 8 rebounds a game and continuously to lead the NBA in blocks, which he did last year, the Grizzlies be a much better team. But so we're gonna start out, like I said, 10. We got Zion, 9, Tobias Harris, 8, Julius Randle, and let me see, 6, Triple J. So I'm missing one, ain't it?
Yeah, you missing one, yeah.
Sabonis. Okay, yeah, Sabonis.
Okay.
My bad. Sabonis, 19 points a game, just right outside the top 5 for me. 19 points a game, led power forwards and 12 rebounds a game. Of course, not the Kings won't be making the playoffs again, but you got to give it up to somebody like him. And the Kings really got a nice cornerstone. They got nice building blocks, but eventually the building's still gonna be vacant because the Kings can't put nobody else around them, or they end up trading somebody that wants to be there. So that'll round up my bottom 5 with Sabonis.
Before I begin, I do want to talk about this position, the power forward position, and the way I think about this, and of course, how I got mine. I think the power forward position over the years has become diminished in regards to the role of the power forward, because now we have more threes playing the 4 position, or even guards stepping up to play a 4 guard, 1 big type of lineup. And you kind of point the finger. Some people point towards Kevin Garnett being like the first point forward, so to speak. But you got to take a little step back a little bit further and talk to Sir Charles himself, who at 6'4" was running the floor, MVP season, a few games short of getting himself a ring. And then since then, power forwards, we watched arguably the greatest power forward of all time, Tim Duncan, play. Karl Malone was no slouch. He was 2 or 3 in points, as well as Chris Webber, right? There's been so many great point forward, so to speak, that it's feel like this position has diminished when I'm looking for top 10. But then I realized, if you look back at the last 5-6 championship runs, do the Warriors win without Draymond? Do the Lakers win without AD? Hell, let's be honest here. Yes, Kawhi was having a hell of a season, but do they win without Spicy P?
Pascal, yes, sir. He went crazy. Yep.
So Cavs don't win without Kevin Love.
And then you remember the season he was actually hurt, right? We'll put him down, and I believe we have overlooked the power forward position for a very long time. But I do want to give credit and kudos to that. It was one of those positions that also was either like you are either a point forward or a bruiser. You are either that Kevin Garnett or you are a Charles Oakley type of power forward for real. And I know the game has just changed to be more positionless, so I'll leave it with that and get into my top 10. At number 10, to round out my 10, also I had Sabonis, man. I think I've always been a fan of Sabonis, always. He gives his all on the team. He's gone into a position where, unfortunately, there's just a recovery, decade for the Kings, and they're just
two decades.
Yeah.
Since Chris Webber.
Wow. Yeah.
Chris Webber. Come on.
And so you go to Sacramento to get money and just live out your career at this point. De'Aaron Fox is out there too. But Sabonis, again, a player that you can actually run the offense through. But shout out to the Kings, shout out to the Pacers for those years that they did have him and how he did. Number 9, I got Julius Randle. I think Julius Randle will make a run this year at exceeding 9 because I believe how Jalen Brunson controls the ball and cuts. He's going to be looking for Julius Randle to come in. That pick and pop can be a little bit dangerous in New York. Again, I'm not saying they're about to make the playoffs. That's not what I said at all. I just said I look for better out of Julius Randle with Jalen Brunson, having an actual point guard that is looking to distribute for him. At 8, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. He will not be any higher than 8, and he's lucky he's there at 8.
I'm just happy he's in your top 10, brother. Like, round of applause. Yeah. Round of applause on this one, Savage.
Yeah, see, whatever that category was, he led the league in steals and blocks combined. So I'll give him that. Again, you're not sure how many games he'll give you throughout the season, right? But you're still talking about a player that's coming off a season where he was first team All-NBA, so I will not denounce that. And I look forward to a better progressed role for him. Rebounding 1, finding his scoring touch inside the rim or inside the paint will be lovely for me as well. I think he knows when he can and when he can't shoot. And more of the times, I don't want him to shoot the 3, but his ability to actually step out and make it at times is crucial. So I'll give him number 8. Number 7, I don't go too far from Memphis now. I'll go down to New Orleans for Zion. I think injuries are what put him here for me. But without injuries, that man was collecting some stuff down there, and he was scoring, almost at will, I would say, and gives you more of that. I opened up talking about Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was a more compact player, similar to how Zion is more compact. Zion ain't no 6'10", 6'11" power forward. He's about 6'6", 6'7". He's giving you all chest when he's doing it. And I think for the Pelicans to make a run, like I believe they can make a run, at least into the playoffs and maybe scare some teams again, they're going to need Zion to be a top 10 player at his position. And again, mind you, after about 3 or 4, ladies and gentlemen, this list can go great. And at 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At 6, I have Tobias Harris. His numbers are not going to scream at you, but look at what happens when you take Joel Embiid out the lineup. You're going through and focusing through with Tobias Harris. Well, James Harden wasn't there. Tobias Harris stepped up multiple times for the 76ers, and I don't see that going anywhere. And the crazy part is Tobias Harris does well in, I hate to say this, but in Glenn Rivers' scheme of offense. He's not that well outside of that scheme, and since he still has Doc Rivers as his coach, I'm going to give him that 6th position. He can score at many different angles of the rim. He's not bad on defense as well, so I got him at number 6. So 6 Tobias, 7 Zion. I forgot. Sabonis at 10, Julius Randle at 9, Jaren at 8. I apologize. I have one more. I pulled a 2. And that was my guy in Atlanta, John Collins. John Collins is going to now have 2 people that are looking to give him the ball down low. But on top of that, John Collins is not afraid to go up against Joel Embiid. And I mean, not afraid. And there's a lot of players that are afraid of that. And he takes on the challenge every single night when they do play each other. And so, again, let me just make sure I got my 10 together and correct. 10 Sabonis, 9 Julius Randle, 8 Jaren Jackson, 6 maybe Zion, and 5. Well, it doesn't matter. Tobias Harris, Zion, John Collins, Jaren, Julius Randle, Sabonis. That's my.
We'll
4,
figure
5,
it out.
6, 7.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. The top's all that matters. Yeah, so I don't have Tobias Harris nowhere near my list either. I don't rock Tobias Harris. But number 10.
Your list is about to be real interesting. Yeah, your list is about to be real interesting.
Damn. So at number, some kind of respect to 17 and 8.
Nah. So at number 10, I got Julius Randle here. As I'll go through the list and I get into like the advanced stats, I try to look at like the per 36 because to me the per 36 is all about opportunity. As I was looking at Randle's per 36, I can't even do it because he played 36 minutes a game. He already played 36, and that's Thibodeau who keep running his players into the ground. But I think that the Knicks don't want Julius Randle, and I think that he's better served as a bench player that can go get a bucket. He can start if you need him to start, but I think he's a championship like backup type of player that you want him off your bench. He can't really defend. He don't have a right hand. He can't really shoot, but he can rebound. He can give you effort. He can score in the post. I got him at 10. I don't know if he'll be there long term in New York. Number 9, I got John Collins here. Aside from Duncan, I need to see a little bit more from him, but he gives you a double-double. He averaged that, I think, the year before last year. Opportunity is a bit better now with having Murray and Trey together, so you should be able to score a little bit more on those pick and rolls, pick and pops. So yeah, give me John Collins at 9. And number 8, like Sheedy, I got Jaren Jackson here. He could go into the top 5 depending on injury, but I couldn't put him higher than 8 based on the injury. He got to shoot better, y'all. He has to shoot better. Defense, I'm not worried about. He got to stop fouling, obviously, but he can block shots. He affects the Grizzlies in such a positive way that when he's not on the court, it's a night and day team. Like, it's trash on defense. It's bad when he's not playing. So that's why we mentioned a couple episodes ago with the Grizzlies, they might struggle at the beginning initially because Jaren Jackson's not going to be on the court. So give me Jaren at 8. I also mentioned that I think my fear with Jaren is that he's a number 3 player disguised as a number 2 player. So I'm hoping that Bane is that number 2 that we hope that he needs to be. And my hope is that Jaren doesn't come back in and forces it when he comes back from injury. So we'll see about that. Number 7, this is where I got Sabonis. He's a Kevin Love remix, in my opinion. Rebounding like like nobody's business. Can shoot, can score, can play make. I think at some point he'll be on a championship team, kind of like Kevin Love, where he's a little bit older, he's in his prime, and he gets partnered with a number 1 caliber player, and he gets to be, like I said, Kevin Love type player for that team.
As long as he don't just focus on shooting threes.
Correct. Correct. Because Sabonis, he can pass it just like his dad, man. If those who are watching, if you have not watched Arvydas Sabonis, go look up Arvydas Sabonis highlights. That man, he played a couple years in the NBA, but he was a beast in Eurobasket. Go look up Arvydas Sabonis. Number 6, this is where I got Spicy P. His stats improved since the championship season. I don't. Scotty Barnes is here, so I'm like, do I want Pascal to play or get the ball more when I got Scotty Barnes? I think Sheedy, you say this a lot. Go ahead and trade him while the value is high. I would do that if I'm Toronto. I'm like, I love Spicy P.
I said the same thing in my notes.
I would trade him while it's hot right now, and trade him to somebody who wants him. And I would let Scotty Barnes be my guy. I keep Fred VanVleet and Scotty Barnes, but Spicy P, he's good. Like, he's an all-star player. He can play, but I feel like he could stunt Scotty Barnes' growth. We'll see. But I like Spicy P at 6. So my bottom half is Julius Randle at 10, Collins at 9, Jaren Jackson at 8, Sabonis at 7, and Pascal at 6.
Yeah, and even I said last show, the Raptors trade everybody but VanVleet and Scotty Barnes. So I completely agree about Spicy P. My part too.
Yeah, and Took got a problem with John Collins. We can go ahead and talk a little bit right now if y'all want to.
It's not that I got a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it anyway, because like I told you, I think that the Hawks are going to be great. But when you look at John Collins' numbers, do you expect his numbers to go up? Nah.
I think it's an impact, though. I think it's an impact.
He makes an impact for sure. But when you talk about everybody that's on my top 10, is it to a Tobias Harris extent? I mean, maybe that's arguable for sure. But Julius Randle, what he does for the Knicks, no. Jaren Jackson, no. Sabonis, no. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I think his numbers will drop because you will have 2 ball-dominant guards having the ball in their hand. Granted, they'll look for him, but they're more interested in scoring as well. Like I told you, Trae Young, I think his scoring may go up. So
yeah,
that's kind of the thing.
I think what we'll see from John Collins is it has to go one of 2 ways. Either he can merge into traffic with Trae and DeJounte, or he gonna get traded, because it's like I got Onyeka Okongwu playing center, who I can give some more love to, and I can just do lives with him, and then we can put shooters around Trae.
Well. Mm-hmm. They got Clint Capella as well,
and Capella, right? So it's like I can do that and just get high value for John Collins, So
right.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I want John Collins to do well. 5 years, 125 million, whatever he signed right before Jaren did. So I look at him for a remarkable season, but also I think he's the glass cleaner. He's what, if Jaren could rebound like John Collins can, I would put Jaren damn near in my top 5, if not top 3. Let me not push the top 3, but maybe more in my top 5. But I think John Collins has a knack for rebounding. And like I said, when I'm watching him go toe-to-toe with Joel Embiid and other centers that are definitely bigger than him, he's not backing down, and nor is Jaren Jackson Jr. But we'll see what happens as the season progresses. We all said out of that East, there's 9 teams. One of them not going to make it. And so I hope I prove you right, I think, or wrong. It doesn't matter to me.
All right, top 5. Go ahead, Toot.
Cool. Let's see, top 5. So of course, top 5 Draymond. Like I can't go any further without acknowledging what he does for the Golden State Warriors, who are currently the NBA champions. He's the engine that go. When you talk about playmaker, he's the best playmaker on the team. He averaged 7 assists a game, which is number 1 amongst power forwards. I think those numbers will go up when you got Wiseman. Hopefully can start playing. I think those assist numbers may go up. So, but still, you still talk about somebody who gets you, steal a game or block a game, only shooting 30% from 3. So if he can go into offseason just shooting a little bit better, we can see a refined Draymond. I think it'll be top 5 for a lot of people in the league that really don't know his worth. Because when you talk about, like I said, Draymond defensively, the Warriors are nothing. Know your worth. The Warriors are nothing defensively without Draymond, and he is the engine that make it go. As far as getting, Steph and Clay open. So top 5, easily Draymond Green. Number 4, I got Spicy P myself. Like everything you just said, he had his career high. with 23 points a game, also career high in assists and rebounds, 8.5 rebounds, 5 assists a game, and steals as well. So you talk about, somebody who can put the ball in the hole, who I think you said it right on the money when they got Scotty Barnes. And they also got our Memphis guy, Precious Achiuwa as well. So we definitely want to shout them out. I think those are insurance policies. So in case, Siakam were to leave. And I think at this point, the Raptors won't get better with the team they got now, but I don't think Siakam would get better with the team he has now anyway, because you do have a lot of young players. I think Siakam can go somewhere and average 25 points a game. Like, he's a bucket getter for sure, but he's on that team. And you got Scotty Barnes, you got Van Vliet, you got Precious Achiuwa, you got a bunch of young players who they were still top 4, top 5 most of the season last year. So that's why I really couldn't have them outside the playoffs this year, because they're going to only get better. But Spicy P right there, number 4. Number 3, if he can just stay healthy, you already know who I'm talking about, Savage. Hashtag who guarding AD, Anthony Davis is that guy. When he played, number 3 is most power forward with 23 a game. Actually tied with Jaren Jackson with 2.3 blocks a game. But we know the impact that Anthony Davis can make. Like, when he's healthy, he's arguably the best player in the game because he can do everything on both ends. But is he going to come back and is he going to be healthy? Will the Lakers be in the play-in hunt at least? Hopefully. But Anthony Davis, top 3 for sure. Number 2, number 1, y'all know me, man. We gonna just squash all that, dog. Y'all know damn well who my number 1 is. We can argue about it if we need to, but King Durant, all right? King Kevin Durant, KD is his name, King Durant. But number 2, of course, is Giannis, the most dominant player in the game right now. Shaq said, I'm playing right now, and my name is the Greek Freak. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it for sure. But when you talk about a player that people don't feel like playing, a player that's like, oh, shit, I got to play him. We got to play Giannis tonight. Like, he literally went head to head with Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? That's something I ain't never seen, as many times I've watched Kevin Durant. Like, it was beautiful basketball to watch. But, still Kevin Durant is that guy. Kevin Durant is that 7 feet shooting guard who can put up 30. He did average 30, last season. Him and Giannis both averaged 30. But second amongst power forward with 6.5 assists a game. I think he's gonna be on a revenge tour. So this may be Kevin Durant's year, but I don't think that he'll get the MVP love that he deserves because LeBron averaged 30 last season and he didn't get the MVP love. I think at this point he's suffering from what I call a seen it already syndrome. When I've seen Kevin Durant average 30 a season, so that's nothing to me. I've seen LeBron do what he does. That's nuts. Steph Curry, he may win MVP if they get the number 1 seed. Will KD get that love? I would love for him to get MVP love, but KD is still the king to me, so that's number 1 to me. So let me see. Let me go back again. Top 5. Draymond, Pascal Siakam, Anthony Davis, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and King Durant. And make sure you put King Durant into my login when you do the Twitter thing, Savage. Thank you.
We making requests and demands. Okay.
Please and thank you.
Honestly, it was almost it's like a copy and paste from what I have as well too. So number 5, Draymond Green, I completely agree. Again, stats are not going to overwhelm you in regards to how many points, rebounds, assists he has. But one, you're talking about someone that is a part of the offense at all times is Draymond Green. You can't say that for all the power forwards that we already have named. He becomes one of the first power forwards, the first big period that for sure every possession or every other possession is definitely going to touch the ball in some way, shape, or form. And the thing that gets me about Draymond is when they go to the small ball lineup, when they put him at 5, he, in the last minutes of the 4th quarter, going against, against Joker, stealing the ball from him, making him look like he didn't deserve to be an MVP. And so this guy is still top defensive talent as well, 2nd team all NBA defense, I believe, last season, and improved his worth time in and time out. Again, we don't need him to put up 12, 20, nothing like that. He plays his role well. And that's exactly why he is a top 5 power forward in this league. Granted, we can talk about who was left in the pool, but again, I give definitely Draymond his roses, so to speak, his flowers at 5. 4, Pascal Siakam, Spicy P. I agree with what's already been said about him. I believe in another role somewhere else, he can be same way he kind of was with the Raptors, second and third options, so to speak, somewhere else. I think he is stunning the growth of other players that are on this team because that team is comprised of a whole bunch of like forwards, so to speak. If you look up, when I'm looking up that like power forward list, I'm like, well, damn, how many power forwards does Toronto have? Like they playing small forward, power forward, center, point guard, everybody playing something. But again, I can see him, at another place as a contender for him. And then, like I said, like we said already, trading when the value was high. His value is high right now. And he's still someone that can give you around, I would say at least on a championship contender, you would give him at least 18, and I would say about 10 to 11 rebounds as well. Again, knowing your role, similar to what Draymond Green would do. Number 3, again, copy and paste from what I've heard from Anthony Davis. When Anthony Davis is healthy, when Anthony Davis is locked in, he might not be number 3 on this list when he's ready. But until then, he is number 3. I know Kevin Garnett has went off on him this offseason. I know that Darvin Ham has also talked about the offense running more through Anthony Davis this upcoming season. And so we should see more from him, more of a progression. Just hope that his whole entire body does not give out on him. His talent is so immense. His ability to ball control and just, handle the offense on his own is incredible. And he's no slouch on defense. He can rotate with the best of them and play defense. So it's not even just who's guarding AD, who's AD guarding as well. Could be also another hashtag when it comes to the playoffs. And, again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, this is not the best team in LA right now, but they can surely put up a good fight in the Battle of LA. I would love to see in the playoffs coming soon, hopefully this upcoming year. 2 and 1, like I said, copy and paste from, what you heard from Took. At number 2, I got Kevin Durant. Oh, that's not what you had, Took. Sorry.
But you don't know the definition of copy paste? How you teach it? You don't know the definition of the copy and paste. I know that's not what you're supposed to do, but that's what copy and paste is, not copy and paste.
Yeah, so I didn't want to cheat, right?
He copied your 1 and pasted it at 2. That's what happened.
There we go.
What See? That's what you call lazy.
No plagiarism this way, player.
That's what you call lazy.
So, again, metal with this list, 1, 2, you can go either way. For me, Kevin Durant, I don't think has peaked offensively, but he's almost peaked offensively in regards to what more can this man not do. He can shoot from right inside the logo. He can take you on the block. He can hit you at the corner, free throw line. Offensively, he has not a struggle anywhere. He can go 2-on-1. It doesn't matter. 1-on-2, it doesn't matter. He can still relieve the break by himself with 2 defenders. Talk about defense. He's not the best defender, but he's lengthy. So he's going to play good defense. He's going to rebound as well. But I have Giannis there because I see more of a ceiling for Giannis to achieve as opposed to what Kevin Durant can achieve. And I also believe that Giannis is coming from, to me, one of the most disrespectful years that the NBA has had in recent years. What I mean by that is, what talk does the NBA having about Giannis and the Bucks winning the championship the year before that? Very, very mute on that one. The Warriors won the championship. No disrespect to the Warriors, but we are talking about the Warriors, right? We're talking about other teams, but literally, it's like people forgot about how great of a player Giannis was. And you're right.
They gave him a movie on Disney Plus. He got a movie. He all right.
Here you go. It's just Giannis got that money control. But I will also say playoffs play a point of that too. Head-to-head matchup points, I believe, actually goes to Giannis. KD has more assists. They're kind of even everywhere else around the board. The points is only by 1.5 points. I've watched Giannis score 30 points and not 1 3-pointer shot. I've seen Kevin Durant score 35, making 3 or 4 3-pointers. You're talking about dominance. Again, my point from last week. Giannis can be the best power forward in the league, and Kevin Durant can still win the MVP. The value of Giannis compared to the value of Durant. I'll say this very quickly. Durant, at the beginning of the season, well, not at the beginning, but the offseason, talked twice about wanting to be traded. Yes, and we know. Giannis is not even a blimp on the radar for trading, period. He is part of that upper echelon. I think Kevin Durant can and will be there, but for there to be any type of conversation, whether or not he wanted to be traded or not, should have been shut down immediately. I have never once in my heard recently that Giannis wanted to be traded and did not like the system in which he was playing in Milwaukee. He is not only just a team player, but a leader on and off the court. So for me, I have Giannis at number 1, KD at 2, 3 is AD, 4 Pascal, and 5 Draymond Green. Funny how a lot of these players might be coming from the Western Conference too, or Eastern Conference, excuse me.
Savage, save this podcast. Make some sense.
Okay.
Oh, I can't wait.
I guess I'm the tiebreaker then. All right. Number 5, I guess Zion Williamson here. I don't have, well, I do have stats for you. The stat is 5 years, $231 million. The man got to play basketball this year. He has a weight clause in his contract. I'm sure that other players across the league have weight clauses in their contract, but it's time to play. You got paid. It's time to play. Whether that's in New Orleans or somewhere else, it's time to play, Zion. So get off your ass, play some basketball, stop eating beignets, go hoop. Number 4, this is where I have Draymond Green. Unlike Zion, I don't have stats for Draymond because it don't matter with him. He is an impact on the court when he plays. Well, I do have one stat, plus 210 in the playoffs. That's third behind Steph and behind Wiggins, but still plus 210 in the playoffs, that's ridiculous. You know, for him who does not score a lot. That means he's doing something else that impacts the game. So I got Draymond at 4. At 3, this is where I have
I'm sorry, can I give you a number real quickly for Draymond?
Go ahead.
Just 4 of these. That's all.
Yeah, 4 of them. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. Just want to give you a number.
And might be counting some more, depending on how it goes.
Ain't counting.
It might be counting some more. 3 is where I get AD. This has to be the year he stays healthy, man, because he hasn't been healthy since the bubble. And the bubble felt like forever ago, if I'm being honest. And if we last saw him in the bubble, the man was unguardable. Like, he was shooting threes at a high clip. We know that he was a point guard in high school and he grew to 6'10", 6'11". That's why he's able to dribble and work the post like how he can. And on defense, I have 0 questions at all. 0 questions. Jaren Jackson Jr. led the league in blocks last year. AD could do it if he plays 82 games this year. So I don't have a lot to speak on about AD.
The same blocks. I have the same amount of blocks.
They did? Oh, well, there you go. So yeah, AD at 3. Not much to talk about with him. He got to play basketball this year. So I wanted to go ahead and accelerate to this top 2. So let me be clear, ladies and gentlemen. We went based off of ESPN's rankings, well, not ranked, but position statuses. Next year, what we'll probably do is create our own pool for the players and say, you know what, KD is a small forward, or you know what, Anthony Edwards is a shooting guard, or Evan Mobley is a power forward. You know, whatever. We'll do that next year. So we learn our lesson this year. So for right now, for the purposes of this podcast, this is episode 6 of 3 the Harder Way podcast. We got Giannis or KD. Who's 1? Who's 2? Took had KD at 1. Sheedy had Giannis at 1. At 2, I'm doing 1. At 1, I got Giannis. For those of you who are not on YouTube, Tuka has left the
Know your word.
He's left the Zoom call, but I got Giannis at 1, y'all. Like Sheedy mentioned, for some reason the NBA media forgot the Bucks were a quality NBA team, and I think what happened is that Giannis didn't have his Robin to his Batman. That's Chris Middleton, who was hurt for most of the season. Even without Middleton in the playoffs, they took Boston to 7 games. And I feel like if they have a fully constructed team, things could have been different, for them this past year. But that's a what if. What is I have Giannis at 1. Not this.
No, he didn't.
I know he did.
That Kevin Durant might be number 1.
Yeah, that Kevin Durant will be number 1.
Because I don't see a difference. It's not a difference because he's better now than this Kevin Durant. Are y'all serious?
That Kevin Durant made the finals.
Yes, this one just got swept.
That one got swept.
This one is about to. Are y'all serious right now, man? Until Giannis starts shooting.
Oh my God.
Because essentially what y'all are saying is Giannis is a better player than Kevin Durant.
I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
You're saying yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Giannis can literally, if he wants to, win DPOY and MVP at the same time.
And Kevin Durant can average 35 if he wanted to.
So can Giannis.
Right. But player, you're talking about, we just said he can win the defensive player of the year and he can be the MVP. When KD made his ascension to be MVP, what was his ranking for defensive player of the year?
Man, y'all got it.
Man,
this is somebody that had Kawhi over LeBron too. So
I mean, but I didn't know.
Understand?
I watched
Kevin Durant was literally 7 feet tall and can pull up from anywhere on the court, which makes him the most
That's true
talented scorer we've ever seen.
I agree with that.
And y'all got Giannis, who defensively, sure, I give you that. And Giannis Giannis' game can extend so far that it's crazy. But he's not. He could be a Kevin Durant if he start hitting threes, but he's not there yet. Kevin Durant, like I said, he's
Can Kevin Durant be Giannis? Can Kevin Durant be Giannis?
Yes.
How?
I'm letting Giannis shoot as much as he can.
You said talking about
we saw them put up 50. It really kind of depends on who get the ball first too. But we literally saw them go back and forth in last year. Like we saw what happened. We saw.
We did, and Milwaukee won.
4-3.
Yeah, because they had a better team. If Kyrie was healthy, come on now.
No, okay, I give you that Kyrie and James Harden were hurt.
Shit. Joe Harris would hit the guy. He couldn't hit nothing. He couldn't hit water if there
Joe
was
Harris
right
breaking that man was breaking like building a house.
Come on, he literally didn't have help. It was taken on Giannis by himself and was doing good. If he had just this much amount of help, they would have won. If his toe was this much smaller, they would have won. So come on,
and that's why I say this year, this past year, if they would have had Middleton, things would have been totally different.
I disagree with that. I still disagree with that. Because
how?
I went. No. Sheedy, tell them how I had the Celtics going to the finals, even after they swept the Nets.
I remember hearing that.
So this team was well equipped to handle a player like Giannis. They're well equipped from. They got the lengthy players. They got numerous lengthy players. They got a Robert Williams and an Al Horford who can hold down the paint down mentally. They were able to stop him. So Chris Middleton, he may have helped, but they had an answer for Giannis. I had Celtics going to the finals. Therefore, you give Kevin Durant a little help, Giannis not going to the finals. That's
not fair to Giannis though. That argument's not fair to Giannis because you can say the same thing for Giannis in my opinion. I think so because literally when I had IDK. I said early on before Milwaukee won that championship, when I watched the Bucks play the Nets in Milwaukee and Giannis blocked Kevin Durant's shot, I said, oh yeah, Milwaukee winning. That was back in March, I believe. And I was like, oh yeah, they winning because that's what I saw, And so I feel like it's not fair to Giannis to say, oh, because KD needed Kyrie, Giannis need Milton. I feel like we both are, in our opinion, right on that. So that's a fair argument both ways.
Yeah, but that's when they win against each other.
so I mean, going against one another, if we compare the Robins, so to speak, Giannis has compared to the KD Robins that he has, you much rather take the KD of Robins over Giannis's Robins, which is J. Rue and Middleton, who will be below, I would say, a James Harden and a Kyrie Irving. We've already done our top 10s for those positions, and we all pretty much agree. I would also say that Giannis, per that series, he was not scoring threes at all. He was tired and gassed from going to the rim, being dominant, again, scoring twos, what have you. He's not a three-point shooter. So to me, watching someone score 35, 38 points a game and it be all within the realm of the paint and not from the three-point line, again, dominance. I'm not disagreeing that KD will go down as the best offensive player that we've ever seen, if not him or Steph Curry. Doesn't matter to me. But again, going into this next season, to Savage's point, Giannis still carried the Bucks as far as he could. I didn't see Durant carry the Nets as far as he could. And going into next season, I have Giannis being the number one because I feel like he's still playing with a big chip, a big lays ruffles right here on him, right? And whereas Durant has a little bit of a prinkle, but he knows he's great.
You get the party size, a little small size.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Little bit right there. But I really believe that Giannis will continue to excel, and I don't believe Durant won't excel. I just think there's the amount of growth, to your point, too, that Giannis can do is far greater offensively, and he's already been doing that every season, where Durant is not taking those type of leaps and bounds defensively on the other side of the ball. That's what I'm saying. And I'm also agreeing that Kevin Durant has been to the finals. He was with the Thunder, MVP, all of that, gave it to his mama, all of that stuff, right? And I believe, and I've said this before, without Kevin Durant, those Nets don't exist.
Yeah,
they don't exist.
They trash, yeah.
So I'm not disagreeing with his work. I just believe the work is more valuable from Giannis. Giannis is an untradeable piece. If there is a whisper in Miami about Jimmy being traded, Pat Riley is shutting that down immediately. If there is a conversation in Golden State about Steph being traded, that's shut down immediately. And I didn't see that come from the Brooklyn. But I'm not saying, again, that Kevin Durant is not one of the top 2-3 best players in the league. I'm just saying in his position, this upcoming season, Giannis is who I got as the best power forward.
Them Brooklyn Nets and Bucks ain't gonna be lit for this podcast. I know that for a fact. Because I get interest on both sides now. Because I already had Ben with the Nets, and I do think that Ben gonna play well with the Nets. But now I get the Giannis over KD discussion. This is gonna be a good question for Twitter. I think. Like who was a better player? Giannis.
Who would save the podcast?
So we gonna ask that question on Twitter. Like, who was a better player? So we gonna let the listeners and the followers on Twitter to chime in on the discussion. As of right now, it is 2-1 to Giannis on this podcast over Kevin Durant. I'm sorry to. I'm surprised we still fit in that jersey, man. You know, got a 35.
No, that's a compliment. It's a compliment. It's a compliment.
That's vintage, man. That's vintage. It'd be worth something in a couple of years, man.
That's why I'm keeping it clean. You know, I'm gonna keep it clean.
All right, so that's the top 10. Next week, we're going to do top 10 centers. But before we get out of here, we did want to discuss a quick Lakers tidbit about them picking up Dennis Schroeder on their roster, which means that the Russell Westbrook situation is a little bit more complicated, I guess, in my opinion. But what are y'all thoughts on Russell Westbrook? I know Tuke was talking about something with Westbrook is definitely going to be traded now. So,
yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap at this point. I feel like Westbrook finna head out to Utah, and I think Utah is gonna buy him out. He may spend a year there. We don't know. But at this point, ain't no way in hell you get Schroeder and Pat Bev. You know what I'm saying? If I'm Westbrook, if I'm the Lakers, I'm looking at Mike Conley will fit a lot better in that kind of system. I'm looking at a Bogdan, you'll fit better in that system. Even a Jordan Clarkson. So I'm looking at what Utah got. Hopefully Utah looking at too many pieces because, like I said, that's money coming off their books, you know, with Russell Westbrook. So I think that'll be the perfect situation for Russ. But I don't see Russ being a Laker this upcoming season.
Yeah, it's been so much going on. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, since the trade, you know, you've seen kind of Pat and Russell Westbrook kind of gelling, so to speak, with, you know, Russell throwing on the towel. I've seen comments underneath posts about Russell Westbrook where Pat Beverly is supporting Russell Westbrook, which, you know, I believe is key. I don't know whether or not you move him or not yet. If you ask me if he's going to finish the season, that is a strong question. I just believe because of, and I talked about this a little bit earlier, you know, Darvin Ham is a new coach. How is the system going to work? He's talked numerous times, so to speak, about Russell Westbrook playing more off ball. But again, why go get Dennis Schroeder for, you know, vet minimum of $2.5 million, signing for like 17.5 less than what he was actually trying to get a few years ago? You don't go and get this player without either A, knowing Dennis Schroeder's going to be coming off the bench and going for more of that 6-man role like he was going for a couple years ago. Or does he become the replacement for Russell Westbrook, as you stated, Russell Westbrook is traded and eventually bought out. And so I would say to start the season, it's going to be a show. It's going to be a show in LA, and I think Westbrook stays. Talk to me midway through the season and see where we're at, because again, that trade value, you have to trade $47 million worth for Russell Westbrook. And so who's got that $47 million ready to go will be another question. And will those players still be available from Utah or Indianapolis or anywhere else? But I say for now, stays.
Seeing Toot in that Thunder jersey made me remember, didn't Schroeder and Westbrook have beef in OKC?
Exactly.
That's crazy. Lakers bringing 2 dudes that he done had beef with. He done had beef with Schroeder. He done had beef with Pat Bev.
That's why I'm like, y'all serious right now? Like, I know we in the Matrix, but damn.
Man,
Russ do to y'all. What did Russ do to y'all? Y'all deserve this, man. Look,
I'm low-key feeling empathetic towards Russell Westbrook now, but he got a. So there was a video of him changing his form, but I'm still like, no, I don't believe that. It's different when you're shooting with pressure on you, not shooting in an open gym, with nobody putting a hand in your face. But I feel like the Lakers as an organization have talked a lot and talked him up in different roles, but I can't. No, they cannot go through the same thing they went through last year with Westbrook shooting off the side of the backboard, missing wide open layups, turning the ball over. They can't do it. I don't know if it's Utah, but somebody got to take him, and they're gonna have to get him out of there. They absolutely have to. I just cannot see it. I can't see it.
Wow, I love to see him in a Heat jersey.
Miami Heat. Oh my goodness.
Heat jersey, bro. Like, man.
So you trolling me?
I'm serious. Russell Westbrook go to the Miami Heat. Shot.
No. Wouldn't be mad at that too, honestly. I feel like he plays 100 miles an hour, which is probably what Pat Riley wants. I mean, but he probably played too out of control as well too. So I can see that being.
I think Russ has been humble. You know what I'm saying? Like you said.
Oh yes, definitely. He has to be humble. If he ain't humble now, I don't think it.
Like you bringing in my worst enemies to work. You talk about a hostile work
at the same position at that, like the same position.
No, man, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. One thing I wanted to talk about was I guess top remaining power forwards is like Carmelo Anthony.
Oh yeah.
He's the top. I think, in my opinion, the top remaining free agents as well. What y'all think?
Yeah, I think he's one of the better options that is available. We've watched Carmelo go from, again, this small forward role to more of a power forward, grab the rebound, cuss at you while I'm getting the rebound, be open for the corner threes and such like that. It's just where does he land, right? Obviously, he talks about Boston because of Gallinari is hurt. In other places, I don't know where he goes, to be honest. He is still a valuable piece. I would love for him to just be.
You gotta give him 15 if he.
You gotta give 15 back, man.
Yeah,
you gotta give 15 back.
Definitely. I would love to just, wherever he goes, I would just want there to be success for him. I think he saw that with LA when they signed, everyone from the Grandpa's Club with him, but it didn't, fulfill his ring destination, so to speak. And so maybe it's just time for him to be like, hey, listen, I'm just going to go down as a great scorer and make that revenge tour with Denver or even with the New York, to be honest.
Yeah, New York, yeah.
New York is fine. It's a great landing point. They're still going to sell tickets, and he can have a great, I don't want to say revenge tour, but just like, hey, man, this is Carmelo Anthony, still one of the greatest bucket getters we've ever seen in our life play the game of basketball. But he's available and can stretch the floor. I mean, you talk about Miami a moment ago. Mm-hmm. We need a 4 for sure. So I'll put that out there, Pat, if you're listening.
I think for selfish reasons, and we can end it right here, I just want him on the Grizzlies just because that dude was killing us in the bubble. He made every open 3.
Talk about a veteran, man.
He made every open 3. And Lord knows the Grizzlies need some kind of shooting. So I maybe I don't know. I doubt it, but All right, gentlemen. So next week, top 10 centers. Thank y'all for listening in. We're about to wrap up this series. I guess the positional series, because I think I had to look at my schedule. I think we had top 10 coaches coming up as well too that we could talk about.
I like that.
And I think we also had top 10 young players, and I'll let y'all know what young player, what categorizes a young player as well too. So we out of here. Stay safe. Be blessed. Peace.